submitted to be picked were fake. So if we cannot conduct investigation, okay, into the background or the to verify the authenticity of just a certificate, how much more background can we conduct? So it's a problem. The training regime is another problem. Is it all tactical based? Do we teach them how to relate with the community members in which they operate? In the movies, in the, telenovelas, or even reality TV shows. And if you have been abroad before, you see how the police, they speak with you, even when you are engaged in an activity that is illegal. Friend. They go like, "Excuse me, ma'am,
this is your friend.
Can I have your registration, license and registration, please?" And in Ghana, let me show you. Stop. When you stop, why were you over speeding? And I go like, "Can you be nice? How dare you, small boy? How dare you speak to me like that?" So I think it's important. I mean, these little things matter. Okay. You understand? And I've always told them, look, you cannot do your job without the people. Yeah. When you take a closer look at Sir Robert Peel, he founded the Metropolitan Police in the UK and later became the British Prime Minister. He had some principles called the 9 Peelian Principles of Modern Day Policing. And it's all hinged around the fact that, look, let the people see the police as them. They gave the police the mandate to operate, the uniform in which they operate. When they begin to see the police in that light, then everybody plays his role in maintaining security in the country. I understand the police population is still 32,000, right?
Yeah, a little over.
A little over. So when you take a closer look, when you do the math, the police-civilian ratio, one police officer is to about 900 citizens. But in urban areas, Accra, Kaswa, Tema, it's even more staggering. But the UN standard stipulates one police officer to about 500 citizens. What it means is you cannot have the police everywhere all the time. You get me? So it's important we also play a role, a very important role in that regard towards maintaining law and order in our societies. Yes, we the citizens.
Okay.
And how is it possible when the police bridge the gap? There's currently a discord, okay? But when they bridge the gap between themselves and those communities based on mutual trust and respect and confidence, you would have the people playing that role, sharing critical information, critical intelligence with the police. And overall, we would all be watching our shoulders to see who the wrong persons are in our societies. So we can always feel comfortable to walk up to the police.
Sure. I want us to take a break. But when we come back from the break, please think about this. Let's talk about what, in your estimation, is the cause of these. I mean, I know you are saying that this is nothing new, that there's nothing strange happening. But I mean, to the rest of us, I mean, we are not all security experts. We are everyday, ordinary people. To the rest of us, something is happening. It's just genuine already. Look at all the incidents that are happening. So my question is, what could be the cause? Let's think on that. Let's look at the cause, and then as the conversation goes on, we can look at perhaps things that we could do as citizens, just like you said, to help solve the problem. Well, let me take this break by announcing the WhatsApp line. It's 026-084-6539. That's 026-084-6539. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
Today, we can't trust sources of water anymore. Confidence is gone due to human activities. Same human activities introduces well-mechanized machines which purifies water. I bring to you ultimate natural mineral water. Deep from underground, tasty, well-purified and corporately packaged. Ultimate natural mineral water. Let's drink the new. For bulk, call 020-379-1888 or 0244-515-801. Ultimate natural mineral water. My water, your water, our water.
all my precious stuff.
Did they harm you?
Just when they were about to, they hit the siren and bolted.
Scout the area. You don't have security cameras?
They stole everything.
I thought you used ghost cameras from security.
Security warehouse?
Yes, you should. They couldn't have gotten away the way they did without either being electrocuted or being caught on a CCTV camera.
Yes, Dad. Everything has been installed. Yes. Okay. I will be fine, Dad.
Yeah, for this debate tonight.
Tell you guys to keep long, go do the far job. Tell high tech.
She the lie bad go happen tonight. This are no fence.
They couldn't get in this time.
How come?
Security warehouse.
Smart choice.
I guess you have some footage for me there. Crystal clear picture. Pause. I think I know this man. He has a long history with robbery and rape. You are fortunate to have equipped your house with gadgets from security warehouse. Call it in. We'll begin the investigation from here.
Control, come over.
Hello, welcome back from the break. If you are just joining us, we are talking security in Ghana. Well, let me read a few of the messages that have come in. Okay, so this one says, these two personalities are inspiring us. They should keep it up. His name is David Al-Hassan from Tamale. David, thank you so much for your message. This one says, hello, please, what Ibrahim is saying, how many Ghanaians can afford CCTV cameras? Okay. All right, you have other very colorful things to say. We thank you very much for watching. Keep watching. This one says, you journalists are weak such that you can't press your demands on what government should do when you fall victim to insecurity. Let me teach you what to do. Shut down all TV and radio stations for only 6 hours and government will listen to you. You are being beaten and killed and you journalists lament. Finish. Do you know the power you people have? Tell Ekufuado to arrest Ken. His name is Richard at Adidome. Richard has something else to say. He says, this Swale Matash would die soon. The police who never finished their investigations in Ghana, wait and see. Richard from Adidome. Well, Richard, okay. I like that you are telling us what to do. Okay. This one says, good evening, hosts and guests. It's crystal clear that Ghanaian politicians are now heard and seen to be deceiving majority of the naive and gullible Ghanaians with nothing but a mirage of political pledges of having an empirically Ethiopian democratic nation. Ironically, the fourth Republican political cynics are virtually carving for themselves a despotic plutocratic state, as today's Ghana is not only a mere stereotype of infamous animal farm. Wow, okay. Please, next time, if you could just break it down a little for us, that would be very helpful, you know, so that I don't have to grab a dictionary to understand, you know, what you're saying. But thank you for the message. This one says, okay, you didn't add your name. You're telling me who to invite and who not to invite. Okay, I hear you. This one says, good topic for discussion. His name is Francis from Takwa. Thank you, Francis. This one says, good evening, Miss Pratt. Hi. We are really living in a banana state because of the style of killings we are experiencing. We can't sleep with our eyes closed. I share your sentiments. It's not, you know, Okay, this one says, in fact, your panelists are real. Except on security matters, the government should attach them to the Ghana Police Service to train them. His name is Agalik Timothy from Tamale. Okay. This one says, some of the police officials are not just disciplined and not just proud of what they do. His name is Babamu Ibn Abbas Keki. I hope I got your name right. Thank you for the message. This one says, greetings to you, Ama, and your guest. Oh yes, in fact, the security is so frightening, so much so that people don't even trust the security forces anymore. We are now in a nation where contract killings is the in thing. Oh, what has become of our once peaceful Ghana? And oh yeah, Monica Cons from Navrongo. Hi Monica Cons. Okay, so now let's talk horses. I mean, I would straight away go for the elephants, the huge elephants in the room, all pun intended, because I think all these issues with these vigilante groups, and I have had politicians here. I've had General Asiedun Ketia, here, and we spoke about it. I think at the time when the NDC as a political party was also forming its own counter vigilante groups, and my argument for both sides. Well, let me correct myself immediately. I think that presently, very recently, the NDC came out with a strong worded statement disbanding all those groups within its ranks. So at least that's a really positive thing. Mm-hmm. But my attitude, across board is simple. How do you encourage these things when you insist that you are not the ones forming it? If the party will take ownership for the vigilante groups and say that we are the ones forming these vigilante groups, then the rest of us can rest easy knowing that the party then can control their actions and manage their actions. If political parties, both of them, well, the major ones, are saying that we are not the ones forming them, they are forming by themselves, but they are members of our parties, and so we will not ask them to stop, then literally, when they turn the guns away from you, who are they going to turn the guns on next? And who are these people? And what are they? I think that all these insecurity issues, and you said this before about the fact that contracting people to commit crime is not a difficult thing in this country, So if the politicians are not showing us the way, they are not showing concrete, what's the word? Commitment.
It's a problem
to security. Mm-hmm. Then I mean, it's a free-for-all society. And forgive me, but wouldn't this be a direct consequence of the lack of political leadership?
There's absolutely no denying the fact that, for example, the fight against vigilantism, there's no commitment, excuse me, whatsoever on the part of the political elites in Ghana. You see them come out to say all sorts of sweet, sugar-coated things just to deviate or divert attention from them. But the next time, you have the same politicians inaugurating either the tigers or the lions. But before I come to the nitty-gritty, let me add for the records that we have seen a tremendous increase in the number of vigilante groups across the country. The figures I have is staggering. We have not heard about them because they have not been engaged in any illegal act yet, so they have not been in the news. But a lot of vigilante groups are being formed and inaugurated and funded and supported in so many ways by politicians all across the country in anticipation of the 2020 election when they would be needed most. So we are on a time bomb. But my biggest worry, considering the lessons we can learn from the 2007 election in Kenya and the role vigilante groups such as the Kalenjin youth, the Leo youth, the Mungiki played in that election, resulting in the death of hundreds of people in that country. That even prompted then President George Bush to intervene by sending Condoleezza Rice to Nairobi. When she arrived, then she gave her all too famous, "It will not be business as usual." In the end, we had the AU chair then, former President John Ejike Kufuor, tasked Kofi Annan to go and engage in what we call shuttle diplomacy to bring an end to the feud between the People's National Union and the Orange Democratic Movement. By then, the damage was caused. We all know what happened in the 2010 elections in Ivory Coast. That resulted in the civil war in 2011 and the role the Young Patriots led by Charles Blegude, also known as the Street General, played in that election and subsequent war. We can talk about so many cases from Congo to Liberia to Sierra Leone, and even if you study, and I advise you to do that, there's this doctor, I've forgotten the name, but he's written extensively on Boko Haram, its formative years, how it all started. It didn't start as an armed insurgency, but it wasn't well managed. So my fear is with the massive proliferation of small arms and light weapons, especially in Ghana, when these guys take hold of those weapons, then the next time we'll not be talking about vigilante groups, we'll be talking about armed militia. They will become rebels. But you see, when we speak, a lot of people feel or think we're just being sensational or alarmist, but the threat is real. As we speak, according to the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, we have about 2 million guns, illegal guns, in the hands of private citizens in Ghana. The local gun manufacturing industry is fledgling, but there is no political will. And until we have politicians showing the right level of commitment, we would have this issue coming up over and over again. And the problem is, I've spoken with police officers, senior police officers, who tell me that, look, when our commanders make arrest, the first persons to call them are either the MMDCs or the member of parliament or even a minister, telling them, look, these are my boys, let them go. So that cycle of impunity is giving way to the cycle of violence perpetrated by this young man. And if we don't have that commitment, trust me, we'll keep speaking about it over and over
again. I'm sorry, Mr. Ibrahim, you won't have a bite at this particular one, but I want us to now talk some specific incidents that have happened.
No, I'm twitching to talk.
Oh my goodness. All right, can you make a brief for me, please, just because of the time? Because I wanted us to look at some specific incidents that have happened.
I'll keep it short.
And our time is really, okay.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I have largely agreed with my brother, and there is consensus around this table on some of the issues. But you know, security communication or security analysis, when you sit on radio or on TV or you grant an interview to a newspaper, you are talking to two different audiences. You are talking to ordinary people like you. Maybe you may belong to academia, so you have that privileged position to vent your, your feelings as an individual. But the end consumer is as helpless and helpless as you. And my brother and I, if we could, by the stroke of a pen, order 1 million bulletproof vests, maybe after this show we would do that. But when your second audience is a bit numb to all the things people say, and one of your texter pointed to the fact that journalists are, making a clarion call since the demise of Swale. What about journalists whose, cameras have been smashed before, microphones snatched, some who have been beaten and all that? So after half a decade of doing all the talking, at some point you would want to go beyond the masses who perhaps may exert some pressure on decision makers to take the right decisions because there's a threat of losing an election. But by and large, there is very minimal impact it makes. And so that is why I think beyond the public show of disquiet, there needs to be a concrete, solid engagement with the decision makers, because murder cases are rampant in Ghana. Maybe someone has not been affected. But when we continue to harp on the negative things that are happening, and he gave a very interesting piece of statistic about the gun violence in the United States, but CNN will not show you those. Maybe someone goes into a kindergarten to shoot a fake kids, then you'll show. I was in Reno, Nevada, close to Vegas. Away from a hotel, you could hear gunshots. People are popping pills and shooting anyhow. But the US won't show you that. So in security communications, when you are dealing, one of your texters said, how do I work for the state? Yes, your responsibility is to allay the fears of people. Because taking their BP this high will not change anything.
It doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't just change. I remember when something was found in Kumasi before the election. Can you imagine, before even investigating what it was, some were labeling it a sophisticated explosive or a bomb. Yeah, so I think there needs to be a paradigm shift. Yes, of course, it's bad enough, it's egregious enough that in January we've lost a number of lives. But how do we...
Only January.
Yeah, but... Oh, yes, only January. But it doesn't mean February will be as bad. You
hopefully.
The proper mechanisms and structures are not put in place.
Yes, February will not be as bad.
Okay, so now, that will be the last I want us to talk about. These proper mechanisms and things like that will be the last thing. But before we get there, let's look at some of the things that have happened. You know, and because I'm a journalist, straight away I'm going straight to Ahmed Swale. You know, let's look at that incident. Let's look at, again, the political twist to this whole, you know, this is an investigative journalist, an undercover investigative journalist, and for a reason, you know, because he tells us that the kind of work that he does necessitates that he hides his identity. Now you have a politician sit on air, show us his picture, tell us where he lives, you know, commission people to go beat him up, kill him, whatever, and he says, I will pay for it. Well, few months on, the man is murdered. What are we saying?
Maybe Sani will comment on that because maybe you don't know. I've spoken for Kwesi Yantechi as his official mouthpiece for some time. So the issue is under investigations, and of course you can't comment on some of those issues. Some other issues.
Oh, I really wanted us to leave Yantechi out of it and just look at
Fenekotri, the banker who was killed, the woman. Look, this is the drift. In the case of the woman, they said they had, you know, trappings of semen in the woman when they did the autopsy test. My concern is the ordinary Ghanaian youth is not as brutal as we see in some of these murder scenes. What I would want to draw the nation's attention to is that we are in a very turbulent region. We are just like the oasis of stability. And La Côte d'Ivoire, and Sani mentioned, just came out of war after the 2010 election. Burkina Faso has had a president literally run away from his position. There's a little instability in there. Togo, we are working on the Togo dossier. I got arrested because of Togo, together with Bernard Mona. Yeah, exactly. So these are turbulent regions, and the youth. If I tell you how many Togolese youth have crossed the border into Ghana, it was for a reason that we named the Foreign Affairs Ministry by attaching regional integration to it. When a person is crossing the border, what orientation do we give the person? What assimilation? What, you know, how do people even appreciate our culture? So I think we need to look at, because the Ghanaian youth, despite the youth bulge and the unemployment, is not as heartless as we see in some of these murder cases. So therefore, we need to integrate the people who come. That brings another baggage of responsibility on Ghana Immigration Service. It's not about just taking money and giving the person a residence permit.
I mean, you took me right there to this very recent one in Takrade, which is said to be being committed by a Nigerian. You know, apparently a Nigerian kidnapping syndicate, is being held accountable for,
yeah,
for
so,
this.
So our youth are learning from bad practices from elsewhere. In Ghana, you just have some word of currency. Just go to any apartment in this city. Nobody questions. Even your name is not necessary. What is your criminal background? There are youth that, rent apartments. They don't go out during the day. They go out only at night. And so therefore, we are a leaking bucket as a country. And I believe we need to look at the issue of integration in terms of the nexus between migration and the increasing spate of brutality in some of these crimes.
Ama, on the leader of the journalists.
Yes, thank you.
It is no accident when Malcolm X said the media is the most powerful tool. It has the power to make the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent, and that is real power. It's a double-edged sword. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad. Indeed, let's put politics. Absolutely, this has nothing to do with politics. This is broad daylight, despicable acts that every Ghanaian should criticize or condemn. You see, I asked a friend who sought to justify or who sought to critique me over a comment I made on one of the networks. I told him, look, if Ghana were a serious country, for Honorable Kennedy Japan to publish the image of an individual and instigate violence against that individual, and goes on to say that he would pay whoever slaps him if there's an issue, is something I find completely inconsistent with our values as a country. And if we were a serious country, he would have been picked up. I'm not suggesting that, like has been peddled all around, that Kennedy Japan is a suspect. No. He might be a person of interest. But the issue is, you see, politicians, just like men of God, have one unique trait: their ability to galvanize. All right? Whatever they say has a direct consequence, has a direct influence on perceptions, assumptions, and people's way of thinking. In sociology, we call it groupthink. That is when your thinking is influenced by a group or another person. So whatever they say, whether it's on radio or on the pulpit, has a direct implication. So there's the need for you to exercise some degree of responsibility. It is not far-fetched that they have invited him. Perhaps when you take a closer look at the three principles that normally comes to play in criminology, the motive, the means, and the opportunity. Fine. If anything is to go by, I'm not saying it on authority, he could have the motive because in the past he's had issues over the way Anas and his team conduct their investigation. But the question now is, does he have the means, that is the capacity to commit that crime? Does he have the opportunity, that is the internal, external, environmental variables that create that conducive atmosphere for him to perpetrate that crime? It is up to the police to do their job. So you see, we have to be extremely circumspect with the things we say about this issue. There's a lot of things going on, especially on social media. But I would wish to use this platform to appeal to all Ghanaians. Let's exercise restraint. Let the police do their job. Let us not find individuals guilty using the court of public opinion. I think we have to let...
It's not our fault in this
understand
instance.
how
he brought
emotional...
the issue to the court of public, opinion.
I can understand
by
how...
publicly
you see,
publishing someone's picture. It's not our
wrong.
fault.
It's
that
wrong.
Is the court of public opinion.
It's wrong. Okay, on the surface of it, it's wrong. But the law courts, they don't care about your truth or my truth. It becomes a bit complicated. But if you ask me, from my personal perspective, obviously, if someone publishes my picture and says I'm a bad person, they should slap me when I come into I enter a certain premises. Obviously, it's wrong. But we need to be tactful. We need to be careful with some of the things we say, because many are emotional about what has happened.
Rightly so.
And it's unfortunate that we have made it to CNN, Al Jazeera, and BBC. When you take a closer look at the, I think, 2018 Press Freedom Index, we beat Namibia. We emerged first in Africa. Unfortunately, read my lips, the next index, Ghana is going to perform woefully poor because of what has happened. But I'm hoping that when we put,
I think that's the height.
When we put, you see, it's wrong. There's no justification, but it's a rude awakening for, to our security agencies and whoever is responsible for the safety of all Ghanaians. I've always indicated that we've not really developed or given credence to situational crime prevention. All right. When you take a closer look at the Police Service Act 350, the main job of the police is to detect and prevent crime. But to what extent have they been able to do that? So like my brother has mentioned, I think it's important we have the right level of political commitment to providing them their needs. You see a lot of police officers out there on daily basis controlling traffic, directing traffic here and there, but with no bulletproof vest, no sidearms. Yet you have the high-ranking police officers, their bosses, who sit in their air-conditioned offices with bodyguards having those sidearms. So I think it's important we took a look at some of these issues and give credence to situational crime prevention. There's a whole lot of issues that could have come up from this, but perhaps due to time constraints, we wouldn't be able
So would we agree to come back and do this?
I think,
would we agree to come back and do this?
Madam Hostess, I think my brother mentioned the role of the media and how potent media people can be, or the media can be. On Galamsey, you were able to form a coalition.
Yes.
Can't we form coalitions on other issues, especially when it comes to the welfare of the police, for example? Someone prodded me to come up with an initiative. I'm not a fan of crowdfunding, but individually there are efforts we need to make. Some people would actually put up a whole structure for the Ghana Police Service. I would urge those who are watching, if you can buy boots for the police, why not? If you can get 5 pieces of bulletproof vests, why not? We should engage.
Let's be proactive. I'd like to read a few of my messages before we get out of here. Our time is so spent. Okay, the gentlemen on the show are very good. Please, I want Mr. Ibrahim's telephone number. His name is Lukman Ibrahim from Tamale. This one says, okay, thank you very much. This one says, if some people are placed above the law, it is a recipe for anarchy. Example, when Mr. Kennedy Japan instigated against the airways and the guns, he was neither condemned nor invited by the police. His name is Godwin from Elmina. Godwin, I so agree with you. This one says, salute to you guys for the good work you are doing. Personally, I think the police particularly have lost their core calling and are misunderstanding their priorities. They are less concerned about our security and more concerned about their benefits. They really need either deliverance or counseling, okay? This one says, in fact, Irbard and Adib are absolutely on point, and I pray for God's guidance and protection to them as they do a good job for the motherland. Okay, this one is also sent in by Monica Crons. This one says, good evening, my dear patriots. It is obvious the police don't really know what it means to be police. They don't respect the citizens, so how can they protect us? I was given a complaint to a police, but okay. Okay, so as Mr. Saani said, there should be a thorough background check before employing them. Even most of them don't speak English. If they don't understand Chi, then your case will not be listened to. Okay, you say you are from Kutubabi, but you didn't tell us your name. I would have loved to have your name. Okay, let's see. Wow, time is up. I see my, executive producer rolling his hands up and down in the background. Kwame, I see you. Okay, this one says, Osama bin Laden was the prime suspect of America for the Pentagon crash, and a whole nation was almost destroyed without... I'm sorry, I can't see the connection. I'm sorry. Okay. wow, lots of messages. I can't read all of them. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. You know, I was trying to get you to promise to come back because we haven't really, you know, dealt the specific issues. I wanted us to look at the specific issues. For instance, the bust issue. There's an element of rape, you know, in there, and that becomes the what's the word for it? It's almost always the case when a woman is involved that there's some, you know, aspects of rape. And what does it mean? Is it a crime, or is it just, could it be personal? You know, all these angles. I wanted us to talk about the Takoradi incident, you know, and perhaps precautions. What do you do as a young girl leaving the house, you know, against kidnapping, now that it's an issue here in Ghana, and all these things. So quickly, can I have 1 second? Can I have an agreement that we are coming back to exhaust our topic? Oh, so everything is up to Saani now. So once I put pressure here, we are good. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for honoring this message. It was great. Well, let me quickly say thank you to Ama Lipsy for my makeup. Her number is 057-150-3343. Do contact her for all your makeup needs. I'd also like to say thank you to Ultimate Mineral Water Bridge, and I say thank you to Kunlun Ghana Limited, and to you, of course, the viewers, for watching. We are most grateful. Well, this has been our show. We are back tomorrow with the book review, and then we are on Thursday. This week is a packed week. You don't want to miss the couch this week. Stay with us. Have a lovely evening. My name is Ama Pratt. Bye.